You kept what from me? For 5 years? My 28 female boyfriend, 31 male, knowingly gave me HPV years ago that has developed into cervical cancer. We've been together for 5 years and are just about to get engaged soon. I just picked my ring out. When we first got together, apparently he had genital warts the year before, and a doc told him he had HPV. He never mentioned this to me, and it came out like a year into us dating. He says he thought it wasn't a big deal as the whole time we'd been together, he hasn't had any symptoms, warts, and assumed his body cleared it. I was mad at first, but our relationship was otherwise great, and we've gone on to have a wonderful life together for years. I never showed any signs of it, and I'd gotten the vaccine as a teenager. My doctor even said not to worry because of that. Well, turns out I did get it anyway, as my immune system is trash. It was a strain that is high risk for cancer, and it turned into cervical cancer for me. I already have another condition that can cause infertility, and now with this too, I am looking at huge medical bills. Surgery treatment that will possibly end with me infertile or needing a lot of medical intervention to get pregnant. I am stressed and honestly resentful that him not disclosing it 5 years has now led me to getting cancer. Meanwhile, he's healthy and fine. He's very supportive of me through this journey. I just can't help the feeling of resentment, but it's hard to bring up because it's something I forgave him for already years ago. Is this something I should just focus on trying to let go? I don't know what to do. Update. I appreciate all the comments trying to inform me more on HPV strains and the fact that it's really impossible to know who gave it to me, on top of the fact the strains causing warts seemingly don't cause cancer. I think this will make it easier for my mind not to play the blame game and let resentment fester. Also, I do want to be clear, my BF has been nothing but supportive, loving, and apologetic this whole time. He takes me to appointments, does everything humanly possible to calm my anxiety and help me through this. His episode with warts was a year before we met. He had them at no time we were together, and I have never had any. So it's possible, going off what I'm reading now in these comments, that he didn't even have it by the time together. This is a really emotional time, and I'm overwhelmed trying to inform myself on HPV cervical cancer. I appreciate everyone trying to gently help. For all that are asking in comments, yes, I know the difference between just abnormal pap results and cancer. I did the biopsy, and my leap is already scheduled. Update 2. I just really want to thank everyone again who's giving me very useful info resources I wasn't aware of, and thank you so much to everyone who shared their journey with cervical cancer and treatment. It's made me feel a lot less alone as I hadn't gotten to talk to anyone with the experience until now. It's gone so beyond just helping my relationship issue, and I'm so glad I posted this. Top comment by Messy Mom Next Door, about 7,000 upvotes. The type of HPV that causes warts and the types that cause cervical cancer are different strains. If he wasn't your only partner, no way to know who gave you HPV originally. That being said, his attitude about it and complete lack of support is more of the problem than anything. Reply by 7th Mind 7, about 2,000 upvotes. This needs to be upvoted. It's possible he was carrying multiple strains, but overall, there's a shocking lack of understanding about HPV in the comments. Reply by Silver Eye 4569, about 700 upvotes. Yes, it's wild that people know so little about HPV and how it works. Non-wart strains can't be diagnosed in men. If she never had any warts, then he probably did clear his HPV. There is no way for OP's partner to know if he had the cancer-causing strains, and there's no way to know if he was the one who gave it to her. So as much as he appears to be a bad partner for not disclosing, the cancer is completely unrelated. Hopefully, all the women reading this thread will be inspired to get regular pap smears so that they can hopefully catch any abnormal or precancerous cells before it becomes cervical cancer. Reply by Think Spot, about 60 upvotes. Completely agree. It's very difficult to know who got it and when, who had it first, or even if both people had it before they even met. Reply by Billy Yum 22, about 20 upvotes. Hey, it's me, one of the people that knows pretty little about HPV. I got the HPV vaccine years ago. At least I'm nearly positive it was that. It was related to preventing cervical cancer. It somehow never connected to me that HPV is also the genital warts virus. Am I correct that the vaccine I got is only for the cervical cancer form of HPV? That is, does not provide any protection from genital heroes. Gonna Google it, but didn't want to lose the thread. Reply by Poster Bomber, about 200 upvotes. Oh shit, I didn't know this. Reply by Top Flow Boss, about 300 upvotes. Going through the same thing right now, unfortunately, and I've asked my doctor over and over again, how do I know who gave me this? And every single time, she has confirmed that there is no way to tell, unless you've only had one partner your whole life. HPV can lie dormant in your system for years. Either way, that doesn't excuse him from not disclosing, especially if he had physical symptoms, because a lot of HPV strains do not. Reply by Kodiak01, 8 upvotes. I could have gotten HPV from my wife of 7.5 years. I could also have gotten it from a short fling I had 30 years prior, where we had unprotected sex a couple of times. Who knows? Warts didn't show up until 5 years into our marriage. Thankfully, my wife doesn't make a big deal out of the warts. She spent years working in urology offices, so she knows how things can happen. Being monogamous, it's just not a big deal for us. Reply by Altorin, about 20 upvotes. If you don't have the STI anymore, there's nothing to disclose. Reply by Absurd America, about 200 upvotes. And even if you could know who, there isn't even a reliable test for men. Top comment by Low Green Goddess, about 4,000 upvotes. The strain that causes warts is considered a low-risk strain and is likely not the same strain that caused cervical cancer. There are many different strains of HPV, and there are no valid ways to test men for it. Of course, genital warts are easily diagnosed. However, men are carriers and spreaders of the types that cause cervical cancer, and thus there would be no way to know. Highly recommend you discuss the facts with your gyne. I believe they can test the actual strain it was. Reply by J Murphy 32, about 600 upvotes. However, it's fairly common for a person to be infected with multiple strains. If he has one of the ones that causes warts, it's entirely likely that he also has one of the ones that cause cancer. Reply by Low Green Goddess, about 300 upvotes. Yep, it's absolutely possible, and there's no way to know. That's why it's best for people to get the vaccine. I'm glad I got it, as it's typically highly effective at preventing HPV-related cancers. Reply by Spicy Must Flow, about 500 upvotes, respectfully. Scotland has an entire population of girls vaccinated against HPV at ages 12 or 13, starting in 2008, who have gone on to have not even a single case of cervical cancer. You can read about it here. https publichealthscotland.scotnews 2024 January. No cervical cancer cases detected in vaccinated women following HPV immunization. Reply by Damadongi 8, about 50 upvotes. That's phenomenal. But not all of us live in Scotland and have that outcome. I was fully vaccinated before I was a teenager and still had to have a grape-sized chunk of my cervix cut out because of cervical cancer. Fortunately, it was caught early and they were able to get clear margins. Reply by Dkesh, about 300 upvotes. This seems like a non sequitur. The comment you are responding to isn't claiming that HPV doesn't cause cervical cancer. Reply by Low Green Goddess, about 90 upvotes. That's called herd immunity because large swaths of the population are vaccinated. That stops the spread, which is indeed excellent. However, in countries where vaccination rates are lower, obviously the spread is more rampant. Reply by Kai Cat, about 30 upvotes. Same here in Spain. I got vaccinated against HPV when I was 12, and no one my age or younger that I've ever met or know has gotten HPV. It really is a life-saving and important vaccine.
I, 26F, think my boyfriend. In the time we've been together, his chronic pain. My 14 years old son ghosted. Yelk does not belong in scrambled eggs.